issues between counselor and client in ACT therapy because the focus is on difficult feelings, thoughts, and memories and emotions that may come up for the client. The counselor will be aware of what is coming up for them as they are in this process. So they are asking the client to be present in that moment. And in order to ask that, they need to be present as well. So they're really in it with the client, which means that the relationship tends to be fairly equal. It is not as imbalanced as some therapeutic modalities. It is pretty much like the therapist is really sitting there with the client and saying, yes, I would like to help you solve this, but I need to accept that I cannot and that I will sit with you through this. Um, Generally speaking, the language used by the therapist is less technical. It's less based on thoughts, it's less based on a logic, and it's more, there's more of a language of paradox, metaphors, stories, exercises, and experiential processes. So the counselor is really guiding the client through these ideas in sort of an oblique way in order to get the client out of the thinking mind, which has been working so hard to solve this problem in ways for many years that have not been effective. Overuse of language, if you look at the theory behind ACT, overuse of language and the way that language sort of creates thought patterns in our mind and creates cognitive fusion is part of the problem. So, overusing language is not encouraged in this framework. And the counselor is really helping the client to accept who they are and not change it. So the counselor may need to keep bringing the client back to this idea that they need to be in acceptance of the position that they're in. And therefore, the counselor really needs to accept the client as they are as well. Um, However, at the same time, the counselor is helping the client to identify and act more in line with their values. This comes up at a later stage in the process. And so often, especially with clients who are very deeply embedded in their thinking mind and who are trying in a very logical, thought based way to solve their problem, it may take several sessions before they really get to the point of identifying values and moving towards committed action to achieve those, a life more in line with those values.